So, one of the things I wanted to make sure we talked about was my kids are now 21 and 26. But when I look back upon them growing up, I always thought high school was going to be the hardest time because for me, that transition was really difficult. But it seems like today, for a lot of kids, middle school is that huge impact period. And I know it was for both of my kids. And in the book, you write, the joke is that middle school is a time of decline in all things kids' grades and motivation, their self esteem and body satisfaction, teachers' patience, peace, and quiet on the home front. But there's one exception. It's also when conflict and disciplinary problems spike. And then you highlight your time in sixth grade, and I was hoping you might take it from there.
I took a German class in sixth grade, and I had a teacher who I liked very much. He was a new teacher. His name was Herr Schmidt, Mr. Smith. And Herr Schmidt taught in a portable classroom at our school. And one day, a kid in the class, the class was completely out of control, and Herr Schmidt had no idea how to control it. And he exited the classroom via the window. He opened up the window and he rolled himself through the window, and Herr Schmidt had no ability to control it. Later in sixth grade, I had a conversation at lunch with my friends about the difference between walking and running. We decided that the difference was whether both feet were off the ground at the same time, that would be running. And then we sped walk down the hall. And then the assistant principal, who I already hated, said to us, "No running in the hallway." And all my friends said, "We're sorry." And I said, "I wasn't running, I was walking." And then she said, "You have an attitude." And I thought, of course I have an attitude. How could I not have an attitude? What would it mean to not have an attitude? I think in middle school, like a whole bunch of stuff is happening at once. One thing is that kids are, you no longer have one teacher, you have lots of teachers. They don't know you as well. Another thing is that you're becoming more aware of the world and how groups work in the world. You're looking towards an adult world, not just the kind of close family world. Kids become more aware, for example, of racial stereotypes in middle school. And kids of color become aware of how those stereotypes can put them in a box, can constrain them. They might have heard stories from an uncle or an aunt or a parent or a cousin or an older sibling who had a bad experience in school, who felt like they were judged in light of a negative stereotype. Line of research finds that in over the course of seventh grade, African American students' trust in teachers in general declines over the course of the year. And that predicts disciplinary citations in eighth grade. So the more that kids' trust is declining over the course of seventh grade, the more they are getting in trouble in eighth grade. And that seems to be predicted in part by things like the perception of bias, in racial bias in teachers' behavior in middle school. So, one of the things, this is going to bring us back a little bit to the beginning. One of the things that's really powerful then is at that key juncture in the beginning of seventh grade is for kids to get back to a positive and growth oriented and trusting basis for relationships with teachers. There's lots of ways to do that. One way to do that, though, is to look at a particular juncture of when a teacher is giving a student critical feedback. So a teacher is taking a student's essay, they've marked up the essay, and they're giving it back to the student. And research finds that usually what teachers do is they just say something like, "Hey, here's your essay with your feedback on it." And the problem is for a kid who's becoming aware of stereotypes, who's becoming particularly concerned about being treated in disrespectful ways, that might feel like a ton of bricks. And it might feel like maybe this person views me through the lens of a stereotype. Maybe they think my whole group can't do it. So when teachers then say, "I'm giving you this feedback because I have high standards and I know that you can meet them," particularly when it's a white teacher giving that feedback to a Black student, that can sustain students' trust over the rest of the school year. And then it can have this litany of downstream benefits. It reduces conflicts in eighth grade. Kids are more likely to get on track, to be on track or above track performance levels in the transition to high school. And literally, that one note at the beginning of seventh grade in one randomized controlled trial increased the rate at which African American kids went to a 4-year college on time after high school. So, like getting that transition right, getting back to that belief in that the teacher has in you can change a person's life.